much. Thanks for coming, sir. And I also have the first Vice President, Mr. Adeyemo Adeoye. Good morning. Thanks for
Good
joining us.
morning.
All right.
Quick,
It's
quick
been a
correction.
pleasure.
First Vice Chairman of Lagos
Oh,
State.
first Vice Chairman.
Yeah,
Yes,
Lagos State.
first Vice Chairman. Thank you for that correction.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right, we're looking a little bit at the banking this morning. We're looking at the banking sector. Of course, we're not just going to be looking at it specifically. We're thinking, more about the issue of online banking and some of the challenges that we're facing when it has to do with online banking in Nigeria. Basically, online banking, the prospects, the challenges, some of the things that we're looking at this morning. And I'd like to talk about some of the issues that we personally face when we go for, online banking.
Yes.
You do quite a number of transactions, and you expect that in a country like Nigeria, where we seem to have been talking cashless banking over a long period of time, you go to do a transaction over the weekend, and all the ATMs are empty. That happens a lot. Now, we also have another system where you do a transfer on a Friday just before you eat just before the week runs out, and you see that that one too doesn't land in the other, especially when it's going to another bank.
Okay.
It doesn't get to that bank account until maybe Monday morning or maybe sometime Sunday night. I once did a transaction to someone, and this person was practically on my neck. The person kept telling me, madam, are you sure you did it? I did it, it's not me, I did it, it's not me. And this person felt I was lying. The person actually felt like, I was actually lying and coming up with this until he got the alert. And when he got the alert? He got the alert like 2 days later.
Wow.
I'm talking about present day Nigeria.
Yes.
That wasn't like 5 years ago.
Yes.
Present day. But you do so many things, so many issues associated with online banking. Yet we keep telling people that we are completely, we have embraced the e-banking system in Nigeria. Why exactly do you think we have not been able to get it right, despite the fact that we've been doing this for quite a while?
Okay, thank you for that question. As a matter of fact, a country like Nigeria with about 200 million people,
Yes.
and then we have very large number of unbanked people, one of the largest in the world.
Yes.
Have no choice, all right, than to embrace the concept of online banking. Actually, online banking started around the first record of online banking was in October of 1994, when a federal credit union in the United States, Stanford, brought about that concept of banking. And then the idea is to ensure that a lot of people are able to have access to banking. And via the internet, because that's a simple definition of online banking.
Yes.
But we adopted this concept some years ago, and then we have the teething problems, okay, like most of the things that are new in an environment. Then that we don't do this all alone. We rely on a lot of other stakeholders to be able to efficiently deliver online banking. So the case that you have mentioned of a transaction that is unable to pull through for about 48 hours. We rely so much on the efficiency of people providing telecommunication services for us.
Okay.
And so sometimes our efficiency is a function of their own efficiency as well. So most of the transactions that you execute, all right, it's just like you are sending an SMS to someone, you are trying to chat someone on WhatsApp, and it is not delivered on time. It happens also to banking. So we have seen also that sometimes you execute a transaction, the person's account will have been credited, but the alert is not delivered. It happens to me. I've done a transaction about 2 weeks ago. I've not received the alert, but the beneficiary has received the money. So sometimes some of these things are not entirely within the purview of the banking sector, although I know that sometimes we have our own issue as well. Okay, it's
I
not going
like
to
the
be
fact
100.
taking responsibility.
Yes, it's
We
not.
have
We
our
are
own
only issue
issue
as
as
well.
well.
But as much as possible, we try as much as possible to ensure that we are on our feet when it comes to rendering transactions to our clients. So, first, it could be telecommunications.
Yes.
Second, it could be us.
Okay.
All right. So, but eventually you get the money. All right.
Yes.
But these issues are issues that we're also trying to combat and fight against. For our telecommunication service providers,
Why
sometimes
is
we
there no
have like
synergy?
two. Sometimes we have two, we have three telecommunication service providers at the same time.
Yeah.
The essence is just that once one fails, okay, we can switch to another one. You can switch to another one. So we have,
Yes.
sometimes we have a plan B, we have
Yes.
a plan C,
Yes.
in order that we should be able to serve our customers most efficiently. So the handshakes are going on in all spheres of relationship with those telecommunication service providers. And I'm sure that what you have mentioned is not too much common these days, because I mean we are progressing, we are making efforts to go forward. The banks
Yes.
are even spending much of resources to ensure that these kind of issues
Okay.
they don't come up very frequently. And so you will see a situation where we get better as time progresses. Thank you.
We've been talking about these issues with alerts and, of course, the synergy that is meant to exist
Yeah.
between the two sectors, the two sectors, that's the banking sector, and of course, we have the telecommunications industry as well. Now, we have quite a number of other issues, walk into the banking hall, of course, you still have so many things as well. Withdrawals now, we do a lot of withdrawals via the POS and all of that.
Yeah.
And some people are beginning to allege that some of those, despite the fact that you can withdraw outside of your banking hall or open your account or do quite a number of things, that some of this bank subsidiaries, or what do I call it, small shops,
The
small
agents.
agents, for the banking system, seem to be defrauding some clients. The issue of mobile money came in and everybody jumped on mobile money. I remember Stanbic then jumped on mobile money, MTN did it a bit, and then it ran away. And we're done with it. Now we're doing Paga, we're doing, quite a number of, concepts. We keep picking concepts and dropping it, picking concepts and dropping it. Why have we not gotten it right when it comes to some of these issues? Don't we think we need to begin to rethink some of these banking models so that we have one structure or one system that would work and would permanently keep working for a while? Mr. Jope.
Thank you for your question, and thank you for having us. Civilization keeps evolving.
Yes.
So, and banking is part of civilization. So
Yes, most
banking
definitely.
will also
Evolve.
keep evolving. If you look back in the analog age where you go to bank to do transactions and everything, but now that we are in the digital age, banking has also embraced digitization, such that a lot of services have migrated to the digital channels. But it is not, we've not gotten to the bus stop. And so we keep fine-tuning, the models as we go along. We keep fine-tuning the models as we go along. You recall that in the past, identity was a problem in Nigeria.
Yes.
When one person could have 5 different accounts with different names. But that has been eliminated. That has been eliminated such that now the BVN has come to eliminate the issue of multiple identities. So that is a first. That is a first. We've been able to deal with that issue. So other phases will keep coming, and
Yes.
then we will keep dealing with it as it were. A lot of customers are enjoying the convenience that this digital banking is offering. People stay in the comfort of their offices and homes now to do a lot of transactions. A lot of people don't visit the banking halls often these days to
Anymore.
conduct transactions. So when you embrace digital services, you also know that the web is not controlled by the banks.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So everybody, as it were, is operating in an open market. So you have to secure your own space to ensure that you don't open up your flanks because there are cyber criminals everywhere, and everything.
Everywhere,
So that is why you will keep redefining the models to give convenience and comfort to your customers, at the same time to ensure that your own flanks are covered so that you don't open up yourself or your customers to fraudsters. Because for as long as there are human beings on earth, there will be fraud, there will be crime.
Yes.
So you have to keep fine-tuning the models to ensure that you protect yourself, you protect your customers, and you offer convenience. People like convenience, and so they want to keep enjoying this convenience, but the convenience comes at a cost. It comes at a cost. So the effort at remodeling is to ensure that the convenience is not taken away, and at the same time we don't open up our flanks to fraudsters.
Now, some of these prospects, some of these models that you think we need to change, can you just run me through quite a bit of them? What are those things about our banking system currently that we currently practice that we can do away with or broaden to ensure that we can attain some form of economic development in Nigeria?
Okay, you mentioned earlier the concept of sometimes you go to the ATM over the weekend and there's no cash.
And there's no cash.
Right.
And I ask myself why.
Okay. Now, it's one of the concepts that we're trying to discourage. The banking industry is spending a lot of resources to place the necessary technology and infrastructure to ensure that we're able to attend to a lot of people without them necessarily having cash. And that was the concept of cashlessness in the sector. Now, we will encourage a lot of people to do less of cash transactions, because that's why you will see that someone goes to the ATM, you find about 10 other people queuing. He's here, he has about 2-3 accounts, he's withdrawing over 100,000 in one, over 100,000 in another, and sometimes over 100,000. So a person has been able, sometimes takes about some fraction of ₦1,000,000 away, and then someone who wants to withdraw 5,000 naira is waiting on the queue. Someone wants to withdraw 2,000 naira, sometimes 1,000 naira. So it is part of the progressive elaboration and evaluation of the system that we feel that people should migrate more, because those kind of payments you can make them through the internet. Granted, there were teething issues at the beginning, but it's getting better. So we would want to encourage more people to conduct their transaction via online models rather than going to the ATM to withdraw cash. Then the second one is the fact that is mentioned about the issue of BVN.
Yes.
We realize that some people inside of the localities, the communities, are still not on board of that platform. So you would also want to refer to the issue of agency banking we're talking about. The banks are now going inside those areas to set up agencies. Such agencies have been empowered to be able to be small banks in those environments.
How secure are they?
All right. How secure are the transactions? Are they?
No, are they?
Okay.
Those agencies, won't they cut away with people's money? And how much have we been able to secure that system in such a way that it works for all of us?
All right. First and foremost, we have not really seen more of the fears that we expressed at the beginning of setting up agencies
yes,
in those interlands. The people in those interlands are aware that these people are there to help them, to open accounts for them, to do BM verification for them, to do a lot of other transactions that some of them would have taken transport
To the various banks to go
various
do.
banks. And then these are very flexible banking hours in terms of operations, because sometimes you can knock on somebody's door by 10 o'clock in the evening to tell him that you want to send money to someone, and he does it for you. So there has been some form of intrinsic protection by the people in those areas to say, this is our own bank. You cannot come and deny us of such services. Okay, so we want more people to be able to access banking in those internet so that we can bring them on board. Okay, because the issue of financial inclusion is very paramount. Over 40 million Nigerians are without bank accounts.
Unbanked, totally unbanked.
Unbanked. So we want more of the people to come into the mainstream banking. So that's why we keep pushing those platforms. We keep pushing those services to the interlands. So we want more of people to come into the mainstream banking. And the issue of fraud, there's nothing that we can do about it. But we want more people to be more transparent in transactions. We want people to also be custodians of most of the personal things that are personal to them on this internal banking. For instance, you have a PIN, that's a personal identification number.
Yes.
You might be busy here, and you ask someone to go and withdraw money for you, and you will release your PIN to them.
Yes.
All right, some of those frauds that we talk about happens through those kind of situations.
Yes.
Because someone like that, you ask him to go and withdraw 10,000 naira, okay? He withdraws 10,000 naira the first time, another time he withdraws another 10,000 that same day, and then you would think that that transaction was repeated, not knowing that it's someone who has done what you have asked him to do twice, and he brings only 10,000 naira to you. So we want to discourage people from parting with things that are personal to them through in digital banking. And then we want people to also be able to say good things about it, because if you experience the kind of speed, the kind of accuracy that digital banking promises, we also want you to be ambassadors of those kind of things. So we want people to also join us in the crusade to ensure that this is able to be ingrained not only in the cities, but also in those interlands.
My last question would be that with all of this that you're trying to do, I want to know exactly, is this more profitable for the banks, or because would it benefit the people as well? Let's look at the benefits from all sides. How does it benefit the government, having more banked people from the interlands, from the cities? How does it benefit the government? How does it benefit the people themselves? And then how does it benefit, Nigeria as a whole in terms of our economic development and funding and all of that?
Okay. You see, when you want to plan, you need numbers. And you can't plan with the informal economy because you don't have the numbers. So the more you bring into the formal sector, the more you can have numbers for planning. That is an advantage to government, because then you know that we have X number of bank accounts, we ask this, that, and all the rest. That's an advantage to government. To the banks, you see, this model of digitization reduces cost. You've talked about all those POS channels, all those ATMs. They are also providing banking services, which hitherto you get in the banking halls.
Yes.
To set up a branch of a bank, you need brick and mortar, you need generators, you need so many things in stock. With a POS machine, you can render most of those services. You can deposit, you can withdraw at minimal cost.
And you can transfer.
You can transfer, you can receive funds, you can deposit, and you can withdraw. Now, because the setup costs, the initial outlay is much smaller, then you can deploy as many points as possible. A bank is targeting to have 50,000 points this year. There's no bank in Nigeria that can open 1,000 branches in a year. But you can see, I mean, and when you have a number of points, you are also onboarding a lot of the unbanked.
Yes.
You are onboarding a lot of the unbanked, and you are taking banking services to the rural areas. And when you take banking services to the rural areas, you eliminate some cost. One of the very expensive part of banking operations is cash management. You transport cash all over the country. You need several policemen to escort an armored vehicle and all that, you know. But with your POS machine in certain locations, you don't need to move cash there because people receive money, people transfer money. So when you want to
You can use the same funds.
when you want to make payments, you can use your phone. You can, and you will be amazed at the rate of adoption of technology everywhere. You see all the artisans, they have embraced technology. They do a lot of things with their smartphones and everything. So with the high adoption of smartphones, then banking services is also being adopted.
Yes.
And then once you migrate the services to the channels, you reduce costs. And then you can penetrate, you can have a higher rate of penetration. With the higher rate of penetration, then you'll be able to plan better. I mean, as we speak, Nigeria still has the highest number of notes in circulation in Africa. You know, and you know, to replace banknotes, especially because of the way we handle notes around here, to remain, I mean, it takes a lot of money. But the moment some of those things don't have to be handled in cash, then that's a plus to government and the central bank because the cost of producing banknotes reduces. And then there is banking at your fingertips, as it were, because it's able to penetrate all the nooks and crannies of the country. There's convenience, there is speed.
And that's it.
And then there is also the revenue aspect to the government. All right, so just
So the revenue makes money.
The
So the government
makes more money in terms of taxation, in terms of those type of revenues, all layers of revenues. And then a lot of other people are brought into the tax band, into the tax fold. People who are not within the mainstream banking, people in the villages, people in those in the land, they are then brought in, and then government is able to issue taxpayers IDs, and they are able to
all of them.
Exactly. So.
Thank you so much, sir, for coming on the show.
It's my pleasure.
We've been talking about online banking, and I hope to have you again to talk about this issue of tax. But you know, we're watching it later. We need to come talk about tax and you know the benefits and all of it. But we'll do that quite soon. Hope you will be available.
Thank you.
Hope I'll get to see you.
Thank you
so much.
us.
It's a pleasure. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're still looking at some other issue. Remember, I talked about the SIPs. I'll be looking at that after this break. We'll be back.